Now let's talk some about exercise, because this is one of those behavioral stresses, right? And for most of you, it's not too much exercise. It's probably the opposite of that, the lack of exercise. And so what I want to discuss today are some simple strategies you can implement that don't take a ton of time, but that can move the needle tremendously. So think of exercise, we classify it in 3 different styles. We have this top represents flexibility. Another word for that would be stretching. You're maintaining your flexibility. Many of you sit at a desk for long hours of the day. When you do that, your muscles atrophy, they shrink, they become tighter. You become tighter, you start to lose your functionality. So stretching, this is just simply maintaining the range of motion and the flexibility of your muscles. Then we have cardiovascular activities. This would be more like walking stairs, treadmills, walking, jogging, or any other kind of light cardiovascular maneuver or activity that you could do that gets your heart rate going a little bit higher and maybe puts a little glistening sweat on you when you do it. And then we have strength training. And so the example here would be body weight exercises or lifting heavier weights at a gym using different machine weights or even free weights. But again, these 3 components to activity, you should, to get a good plan wrapped around this, you should be addressing all 3. In other words, if you just focus all your time and effort and attention on one of these 3, it won't be as helpful and it won't be as beneficial. So you want to try to incorporate all 3. This is one of the reasons why I love CrossFit, because it incorporates all of these things simultaneously. But not everybody's up for CrossFit. So let's talk about some strategies here that you can do. One of the things that I encourage folks to do is organize your time in such a way where you take away the excuse to say, I didn't exercise today, or I couldn't exercise today, or I didn't have time to exercise today. You don't have to spend an hour stretching. You don't have to spend 30 minutes stretching. Give yourself, what I like to do is at night before I go to bed, I give myself 10 minutes of time. And what I do in bed, and actually do it in bed because bed is softer than the hard ground, is I do a number of different stretches while I'm kind of gearing down to get ready for bed. So I'm stretching my neck, I'm stretching my shoulders and my hamstrings, stretching my quadricep muscles, just doing some mild light stretching while I'm in bed as I'm trying to gear down for the night. And that stretching actually helps relax you so that you can get more restful sleep. A lot of people don't sleep well, which again can also elevate your blood sugar because their muscles are tighter, because they have aches and pains when they get in bed at night. And those aches and pains are predominantly coming from an inactivity or lack of activity. So give yourself 10 minutes at night, even in bed, to just do some light stretching. Remember, a little bit goes a long way. A lot of people have the attitude, if I don't dedicate an hour, then it's not worth doing because it's not enough. A little bit every day goes a long way. From a cardio perspective, there are a lot of strategies here, but if you have, an office at your work or at your job that allows you to do this, one of the best things you could do is get a mobile treadmill, get something that you can put under your desk, so that you can sit some parts of the day, but also walk other parts of the day. When I'm in my office on a daily basis, I do a lot of Zoom consultations throughout the course of many of my days. And so on those days, every other hour I'm walking, and it's not a fast pace. It's, generally anywhere between 1.5 and 2 miles per hour. And that in and of itself will coalesce over the course of the day. You can get anywhere from, depending on your physical fitness, anywhere from 2 and as much. I sometimes get as much as 10 miles a day. That's me personally. You don't shoot for that if that's nowhere where you've been. Aim for 1 mile, aim for 1.5 miles, aim for 2 miles, aim for something more than what you're currently doing. But a desk treadmill can be a good way to do that. Also going for walks. So maybe you don't have a desk treadmill, but going for walks or extending your ability to walk more, and this can be done. There are a lot of simple strategies. What I encourage most people to do is to count. Get you a step counter if you don't already have one, but count your steps. There's evidence now that's showing that people that do just as little as 3,000 steps a day can reduce their overall risk of death and heart disease and stroke. I think the numbers were somewhere in the 40% range. And if you get up to 7,000, the numbers go even higher, right? So, aim for something in this neighborhood. First, if you're tracking it, you can get an idea for where you're at. Most people, when I first have them track it in my clinic, are somewhere around 1,200 to 1,500 steps a day. So we're just talking about doubling their current step load. But this can go a long way to help improving your exercise, and it doesn't require a whole lot of time. It just requires parking a little bit further away, maybe doing a 10 or a 15-minute walk at lunch. Small things, again, plan it into your day. And then there's strength training. Now, strength training is where most people have the biggest excuse. They say, I don't have time to go to the gym because it takes 30 minutes to get ready and then get there and another 30 minutes to get home. And just the trip itself is an hour out of your time. And then you have the hour in the gym. You don't need that much time to build strength. All you really need to build strength is your body weight in 4 minutes. And so one of the easiest things that you can do in this regard is what's called a 4-minute Tabata. Now, if you do a Google search for Tabata, T-A-B-A-T-A, you'll find limitless opportunities and ideas on how to do different types of Tabatas, but I'm going to generalize for you today. A Tabata is basically, it's 20-second of work or exercise followed by a 10-second rest. It's a pattern. So Tabata is a pattern. 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. So for example, let's say you're trying to do some push-ups. You would do push-ups for 20 seconds, and then you would rest for 10 seconds. And then you would do push-ups again for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. And you would do that for 4 minutes. Now, some of you may be thinking in your mind, I can't do a push-up, much less 20 seconds worth of push-ups. There are different ways to do push-ups. There are what we call scalable versions of exercises. So you can scale the exercise to your level of fitness. And so if you can't do a ground push-up, maybe you can do a push-up on your knees. If you can't do a push-up on your knees, maybe you can do a push-up with a higher chair where you're leaning forward on that higher chair to do push-ups. And remember, the more level you are with the ground, the more gravity makes that more challenging. But as your body positions upward, that gravity pressure is taken away and that push-up becomes much, much easier. Again, this is just an example. I encourage any of you to look this up and get Tabata ideas for body weight exercises, because if you're new to this, start with your body weight and this will start building your strength in 4 minutes. Now, if you don't have 4 minutes to help control your blood sugar, there's nothing I can do to help you or anyone else can do to help you. So you've got to commit some of your time to thinking and strategizing about these different aspects to exercise. But again, some light stretching, 10 minutes, do that before you go to bed, 4 minutes of Tabata in a day, that's 14 minutes. And then if you can figure out how to add an extra 1,500 or so steps to your current day, 1,500 steps is less than a mile. 2,000 steps is approximately a mile. If you were to walk a mile, that would take you about 14 minutes. So worst case scenario, if you're doing the lowest amount of all of these things, you're really saying, I only need to commit 28 minutes a day. You said if you don't have 28 minutes a day to give to yourself, there's nothing anyone can do to help you, and you might just want to go make an appointment with your regular doctor and get you some Ozempic or metformin. Anyway, you got to commit to some exercise.